We've got Knicks Pistons right now. Knicks are minus 460 on FanDuel. Pistons plus 360. Connor, I'm going to need this stat off the top. I know you have it written down. What's the Knicks record against good teams in the NBA?
I don't have the exact number. Was it 0-13 against Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder? 0-14? Forget what it was.
It's O.
It's still O because they almost beat Cleveland with the last week of the regular season, and they actually tried to, and Cleveland came back and beat them without Donovan Mitchell. So, yeah, they're 0 for against good teams. Good thing for them is the Pistons aren't that good of a team. They're not, top 3 team in the league. They've been fun. They've been great. I love Cade Cunningham. I think the Knicks roll here. I think this is probably 4-1, if I had to say.
Chase?
It's hard to disagree with that. But at the end of the day, what we've seen from the Knicks is inconsistent play, especially in the biggest moments, the biggest games on the biggest stage. And this is what every game is in the playoffs here. You're going to have a super motivated, in my mind, Detroit team who is tasting the playoffs for the first time. They're the perfect candidates for this really plucky, up-and-coming, magical team that we see kind of every year in the playoffs. And they have a legit bona fide star in Cade Cunningham, and they have enforcers and defense and all these guys that seem to fit the bill of this team really well. But at the same time, Knicks are stacked. They get to play in the city, and they have an awesome fan base behind them when they play those games. 4-1 seems ambitious to me. So I would say the Knicks win in 6, or honestly, I think I'm leaning towards 7 based on what I've seen from New York. Yeah, I don't know if I can trust this Knicks team, man. They've pooped the bed every ESPN televised game. I haven't seen them win. If you did not have League Pass or anything else other than just straight cable, you would think that the Knicks were the worst team in the league because every time they are televised, they lose.
That's fair, but also Cade Cunningham's going to have a tough time with Mikal Bridges on him, and then someone else on Detroit's going to have to step up. And look, I like Malik Beasley. I don't know. Tobias Harris has had a decent year, but in the playoffs?
And here's the thing. The season series, look, Detroit won the season series 3-1. Cade was great in those games. He averaged over 31 points a game in those 4 games. The series is going to be a rock fight. I agree. It's not going to be easy. The Knicks aren't going to blow them out every game. But when it comes down to late game execution, a Brunson Towns pick and roll is a hell of a lot better than anything the Pistons have to offer, especially when Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby are going to be switching off, and Josh Hart. All of them can guard Cade Cunningham for different stretches. Plus, I think Towns gets Jalen Duren in foul trouble pretty early. We've seen a few Jalen Duren games this year where he's gotten 5 fouls in 18 minutes, and I could see a couple of those in this series.
Yeah, that's all true. I could also see Towns committing 6 fouls, and all of them are 30 feet away from the basket. And I also think
PJ Tucker minutes.
Right, exactly. I also think defense travels, and this Detroit team is reminiscent of the Bad Boys, where they're just they fight everyone. They literally don't give a crap. Brunson's health is still up in the air, technically, right? And so we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But again, to that same point, and I'm obviously contradicting myself here, because I do think the Knicks win. Brunson might have a heyday at the free throw line. He might shoot 20 free throws a game with how aggressive Detroit can be and in his playoff savviness and what we saw last year from him. And Detroit lacks quite literally any bit of experience at all in the starting lineup, except for Beasley is your most experienced guy, Tim Hardaway. So both those things are factors. I would not be shocked, though, if this looked a lot like Orlando Cleveland of last year, where we just see a young team and maybe a more veteran team, and they just keep trading on and off nights until eventually we get to Game 7 and the more experienced team wins.
That Orlando Cavs series last year was was the worst 7-game series of all time.
I remember watching that Game 7, and I was just sitting there like, oh my Lord. Nobody wants to win.
I remember watching all of those games going, okay, the Cavs got hot tonight. Okay, Paolo got hot tonight, and just flip-flop. And every single game, you didn't get excited for it. They were all on NBA TV, if I remember correctly. And then also, they all stunk.
Yeah, that was a brutal series. I feel like this series will be more entertaining than that. I don't want Motor City. I don't want Detroit fans coming for me. I think the Pistons have a bright future. Their turnaround this year has been unbelievable to watch. They've been one of my most favorite teams to watch on League Pass. Great story. I just don't think this is the year. I think it's a 4-1 New York Knicks series win, and we start talking about the Pistons as, playoff guys for next year, but not this year.
Who has a better home court advantage, Madison Square Garden or Little Caesars Pizza Arena?
That's tough. Are we still doing the Wingstop promo or no?
Pizza. The Wingstop promo. Give me Knicks in, I want to say 5, but I'm going to say Knicks in 6 to be safer. I don't really see the path for the Pistons in this one, to be honest.
And plus, who guards Jalen Brunson is the other thing. Who's really going to guard him? Beasley, Tim Hardaway. I guess Asar Thompson will spend some time on him.
Probably.
Yeah, it's
But
tough.
I just think they're going to rely too much on Cade, and can Cade do that in a 7-game series? Like, obviously, you talk about, okay, yeah, he had success in the regular season, 3-1 against the Knicks. He had 30 points in those games and whatnot. But the problem is, once you get to a 7-game series, it's so different where you're scouting him every night. You understand his tendencies more, and then they're going to send doubles every single time, and then all of a sudden it's going to be, hey, Malik Beasley, hey, Tim Hardaway, you guys got to get hot. And maybe they can for a game or two, but I don't see it with the Pistons, to be honest.
Yeah, and I just think the Knicks just have so many more options to throw at Cade Cunningham defensively than the Pistons do to throw at Jalen Brunson. And I think that's what this ultimately boils down to. Bridges, Anunoby, Hart, they're going to see a lot of wide open corner threes off the drive and kick. If they can knock those down at a 40% rate, I think they're fine. How long, last question, how long do you guys give it until PJ Tucker and Beef Stew clear the benches? Game 2?
I think it happens in Detroit.
Okay. Game 3?
Over under technical / flagrant fouls in this series.
Ooh, that's a good one. So technicals or flagrants.
Yeah, they both count.
They're 5.5.
I think it's like 9.5.
I'm going to say like 8.5 just because there could be one big altercation where like 7 guys get technicals.
And on
I
top of
think
that,
that's what
like,
we'll see.
defensive 3 seconds bullcrap, isn't that technically like a BS technical foul? Like you
Oh,
get that in
yeah.
there.
So
got
read the
that.
fine print. Yeah, read the fine print.
Read the fine print, yeah. It's like when you bet on baseball and you're like, yeah, I bet on this guy to get a hit, and then you didn't realize fielder's choice, or if they like F up the freaking catch or something, all of a sudden that doesn't count as a hit. They're like, yeah, that they had an error. I'm like, but he got on base. Why the F is that not a hit?
It's like, yeah, no, dead heat rules don't apply.
Yeah,
We'll take your
baseball.
money.
Baseball's stupid. That's why we're not doing a baseball podcast.
That's
Go
right.
check out Dylan's podcast. He does baseball.